Good morning, class. Welcome to today's lesson. Today we'll be looking at consonant clusters. That is, two clusters at initial, medial, and final positions. So I would advise you get your pen and papers and your textbooks, possibly if you have them. The objective of this lesson is to be able to identify clusters in words, especially two clusters at initial, medial, and final position. Let's look at the definition of consonant clusters. In some words, two or more consonants can occur together without a nearby vowel, resulting in a consonant cluster. Consonant cluster is the coming together of two or more consonants. Now, when we're talking about consonant clusters in English language, our focus is on sounds and not letters. So it is a sequence of consonant units, and it can occur at the initial, medial, or final position. That is, it can have a consonant cluster at the initial, medial, or final position of words. How many of the words below contain a consonant cluster? Let's take this quick exercise. Can you identify them? Here are the words. You have cute, script, explain, push, new, letter, this, with, moved, kick, and mask. Let's look at the words once again. On your screen, you have the words cute, script, explain, push, new, letter, this, with, moved, kick, and mask. Remember again, the topic we're looking at is consonant clusters. That is the sequence or the occurrence of two or more consonants at the initial, medial, and final position of words. And I explained to you that when we're talking about consonant clusters in English language, our focus is on sounds and not the letters. Sounds and not the letters. So try to evaluate yourself by identifying the consonant clusters in those words. How many of the words contain a consonant cluster? Okay, let's reveal our answer. Yes, the word cute. This word has two clusters, two consonant clusters at the initial position. When you look at the orthography, what you have there is C-U-T-E, just a consonant letter at the beginning. But phonetically, you have two consonants at the initial position of this word. Yes, the word script. The word script also contains three clusters at the initial position. The word explain. The word new. The word moved. The word mask. For the purpose of those that are just joining the class, the topic once again is consonant clusters. We're looking at consonant clusters, and we're looking at two clusters at initial, medial, and final position of words. And I've explained consonant cluster to be the occurrence of two or more consonants in words. The occurrence of two or more consonants in words without a nearby vowel. And consonant cluster is the coming together of two or more consonants. And when we're looking at consonant clusters, we're talking about sounds and not letters. And this lesson will focus on occurrence of cluster at the initial, medial, or final position. And I gave a simple activity based on my explanation. I asked you to identify the clusters in those words. And here are the words again. You have cute, script, explain, push, new, letter, this, with, moved, kick, and mask. Can you identify the consonant cluster in those words? You're not to write anything, please. The focus should be on my explanation, and if you have any answer or any question, just type in your questions. Do not write. We're going to take some exercises, and we're going to have some explanation on what we're doing. Don't distract yourself by writing. Okay, let's look at our answers again. Yes, you can see the cluster in this word, cute, cute. When you look at the letters contained in these words, at the initial position, you only have one consonant, but when you look at it phonetically, looking at the sounds, there are two consonants. The next word is script. Three consonants at the initial position and two at the final position. The third answer is explain, explain. At the medial position, you can see three consonants clustered. Explain. Then the word new, just like your word cute. When you look at the letters, it's only one consonant at the initial position, but when transcribed, you have two consonants clustered. New. Then the word moved, moved. Even though orthographically, you can see a vowel coming between the V and the D. But when it is transcribed, what you have is the and the, moved, a cluster at the final position. Then lastly, you have the word mask, mask. Now let's take it back a little bit. In English language, there are letters as well as sound. Of course, you all know your 26 letters of the alphabet, A to Z. I know that from the 26 alphabet, we have 21 consonants and 5 vowels. For the sounds, we have 44 sounds, divided into 24 consonants and 20 vowels. In English language, there are letters as well as sound. I'll repeat again for the purpose of this lesson. We're looking at consonant clusters in terms of sounds. In terms of sounds. Now, these are consonant sounds. These are consonant sounds showing on your screen. The 24 consonant sounds that we have. You can see that we have a little modification from the letters. There are some of those sounds that you cannot find the correspondence in letters. And there are some that you can actually find, like the first, like this, the P and the P, the B and the B, the T and the T, the D and the D. This is not the same as the letter form. It's G in sound, but G in letter. This is K in sound, but K in letter. So these are all the 24 consonant sounds. All the 24 consonant sounds in English language. Please take note that there's no letter to sound correspondence in English language. That is, we cannot judge a word or judge a word based on the letters alone and then say, oh, we have the equivalent in sound. Not all letters in English language has the equivalent in sound. Now, having looked at the consonant sounds, let's look at the vowel sounds. There are 20 vowel sounds, and these are displayed on the screen. The 20 vowel sounds in English language, which contains the monophthong and the diphthongs. So on your screen, you have the 20 vowel sounds. The essence of showing you all this is for you to know that we're not looking at the letters in terms of cluster, we're looking at the sounds. Now let's look at consonant cluster at the initial position. Look at the words on your screen. You have the word plate, plate, with 2 consonant cluster at the initial position, plate. You have the word twin, praise, crane, tree, and dress. All those words have clusters at the initial position. The word plate, praise, twin, crane, dress, blow, bridge, and grain. Also the word dwell and glass. You have more words with consonants at the initial position. On your screen are more examples. Look at the orthography of the word of the letter THREE, 3. The word 3. Transcribed, you have only 2 clusters, but when you look at it in terms of the alphabet, it contains 3. So don't be deceived. Clusters has to do with sounds. The word sweet, S-U-I-T-E, is pronounced sweet with 2 consonants at the beginning. Likewise, the word please and swine. The word flask and queen. The word branch and brief. Now, please take note, some double letters contain only 1 consonant sound, such as SH, TH, CH, DG, CK, SS, TT, and LL. Some double letters contain only 1 consonant sounds. Even though they have double letters in them, they are pronounced as 1. They should not be mistaken to mean 2. For example, the CHL in chloride is not a cluster of 3 consonants, but of 2, because CH is pronounced K. CH is pronounced K. So in the word chloride, it is just a cluster of 3 consonants. It is just 2, not 3. Again, you have some sounds that are obviously not seen in words. but they're actually there. They're not represented in the orthography, but they're there when you look at it phonetically. They can only be felt when the words are transcribed and pronounced correctly. You have example of the word Q-U-I-C-K, pronounced as quick. Even though when you look at it, you don't have the letter W, but in the pronunciation, it's there. The Y sound is there, quick. Likewise, quiet and quiz, white and choir. In choir, the letters you have is C-H-O-I-R, but it is pronounced as choir. More examples, you have view, steal, feel, tune, question, and so on. All those words have sounds that are not, that you cannot see obviously, but are contained in it. That is why we say that there's no letter to sound correspondence in English language. Now let's look at examples of clusters in sentences. When you have clusters in sentences, it is mandatory on you to pronounce those words distinctly. Look at the example, the first example. You have the driver stole the broken plate. The driver stole the broken plate. The greedy prince derives pleasure from plucking fruits from the tree. The bride from the primary school presents green flowers to her new friends in class 6 every Friday. All those words containing clusters are pronounced without inserting a vowel in between them. Let's take the first sentence again. The driver stole the broken plate. The greedy prince derives pleasure from plucking fruit from the tree. The bride from the primary school presents green flowers to a new friend in class 6 every Friday. Now let's take more drills with words containing clusters at the medial position. Words containing clusters at the medial position. Every word in the English language is divided into 3 parts. You have the initial, the medial, and the final. And we're looking at consonant clusters. Look at the word on your screen. You have the word biscuit, frequent, cluster, surprise, duplicate, and sincere. Again, you have the word biscuit, frequent, cluster, surprise, duplicate, and sincere. All those words contain clusters at the medial position. That is the occurrence of 2 clusters, 2 consonants at the medial position. More examples, you have the word soprano, soprano, and ensnare. All those words are words from English language containing clusters at the medial position. Once again, I'll remind you that the topic is consonant clusters at the initial, medial, and final position. We focus on 2 consonant sounds occurring together. You have more examples that are displayed on your screen. You have the word enshroud, counterfeit, sequence, plantain, plastic, public, identity, sensory, enshrine, and so on. All those words are examples of words with consonant clusters at the medial position. Please take note that some words with two consonant clusters at the middle could be in compound words. For example, cardboard, hardship, flashback, and so on. Now let's look at cluster of two consonants at the final position. Consonant cluster with two consonants at the final position occur mostly in certain ways. That is, they have their own peculiarity. So we're going to take them one after the other. Now, past tense, that is the ed particle, is pronounced the in regular verbs, ending in vowels or voice consonants. Example, you have the word climbed, pronounced as climbed, climbed. Remember that this word, the bar sound in it is silent. It is pronounced as climbed. Another example is wedged, pronounced as wedged, wedged. You have praised, pronounced as praised, praised. moved, pronounced as moved, moved. mobbed, pronounced as mopped, mopped. refused, pronounced as refused, refused. Now, there's another rule that we have to take a look at. There's another rule that we have to take a look at. If the regular verbs ends in voiceless consonants, it is pronounced ta. If the regular verb ends in consonants, it is pronounced ta. Example, you have the word walked, walked, walked. Now, this is a verb that ends in ed. But because the sound before the ed is a voiceless consonant, the ka sound is a voiceless consonant, I'll remind you again that in English language, the consonant sounds are divided into two. You have the voiced and the voiceless. The voiced sound and the voiceless sound. The voiced sound are the one produced without any obstruction in the oral cavity, while the voiceless sounds are produced with obstruction. So you have the word walked, you have the word east, east. Because of the presence of this double S before the ed, it is pronounced as east. That's because this sound is a voiceless consonant. Also, you have the word mixed, mixed. You have the word stopped, stopped. And the word jumped, jumped. Sacked, sacked. Tasked, tasked, tasked. Now the third rule, the S or ES particle for plural formation in regular verbs is pronounced Z if the noun ends in a vowel or voice consonant. The S or ES that is used to signify plural pluralization, irregular verbs is pronounced z if the noun ends in a vowel or voice consonant. Example, you have the word ribs, ribs, ends, hands. That's because this letter B or sound B is a voiced consonant. So the letter S there after it, signifying the plural form, is pronounced Z. More examples, you have arms, runs, dogs, hopes, hopes. Now another rule, if it ends in a voiceless consonant, if your word ends in a voiceless consonant, it is pronounced. The same rule applies to the possessive marker as well as the pronunciation of ending in a singular verb. Example, you have CAPS pronounced as caps, caps, and you have cooks, cooks, seats, past, laughs, mans, ants, Jones. Now let's take this quick exercise. How many of those words have two consonant clusters at the beginning? On your screen, you have the words displayed. Can you identify how many of those words have two consonant clusters at the beginning based on the pronunciation, please? Do not look at the letters in those words. Look at how those words are pronounced. Pronounce them to yourself and identify the consonant clusters at the beginning. How many can you find? Let's take this quick exercise. How many of those words have two consonant clusters at the beginning, that is at the initial position? Okay, I'll help you out with the pronunciations. You have the word cream, quality, crab, guide, much, chance, under, wise, guess, pride. Face, simple, phrase, feel, blast, uncle, those, skills, crane, and physics. How many of those words have two consonant clusters at the beginning? Oh, Daniel, you said it's 11. Abdullah says it's in level 2. I can see Nuru's hands raised. Have you been able to identify the number of words with consonants at the beginning? Okay, let's review the answer. Yes, just 9 words. None of you got it right. You have just 9, and these are the words. You have cream, quality, crab, phrase, skills, feel, crane, pride, and blast. I wonder where you got your 11 words from. Okay, let's look at the exercise again. Let's be sure. I may be right and I might be wrong. So let's look at the words again. How is it 9? Okay. The instruction is to identify the number of words with 2 consonant clusters at the beginning. So I have the word cream, 1, quality, 2, crab, 3, pride, 4, phrase, 5, feel, 6, blast, 7, skills, 8, and crane, 9. See, none of you got it right. We have just 9 words in this exercise with consonant clusters at the beginning. Now another exercise. Let's see how well you can fare with this. Identify the consonant clusters at the end of words in these sentences. Identify the consonant clusters at the end of words in these sentences. Ready? Okay. You can see the words and in the sentences on your screen. First sentence I have is the man refused to print the document as was instructed by the manager. The man refused to print the document as was instructed by the manager. The instruction says identify the consonant clusters at the end, final position of words in these sentences. Number 2 sentence, you have he moved his arms as he talked to the stranger. He moved his hands as he talked to the stranger. How many words in this sentence has consonant clusters at the end, the final position? Then the third sentence, there were 3 texts at the end of the desk in the script room. There were 3 texts at the end of the desk in the script room. The first sentence, you have the man refused to print the document as was instructed by the manager. Number 2, you have he moved his hands as he talked to the stranger. And number 3, you have there were 3 texts at the end of the desk in the script room. I'm sure your answers are ready. Oh, Amar, you don't understand the exercise. How come? Are you just joining the class? Okay, let's take it one after the other. Let's take it one after the other. Let's look at the first sentence together. The instruction once again says, identify the consonant clusters at the end of words in these sentences. The first sentence, you have the man refused. The man refused at the end of the word. Did you notice anything in what I've just said? The man refused. Yes, the word refused. That's one in the first sentence. To print. Then the word print, that's two clusters, right? That's another one in the first sentence. The document. The document. That's three at the end. Document, that's another word. As was instructed. As was instructed by the manager. Clear now? So take the other two. He moved his hands as he talked to the stranger. He moved his hands as he talked to the stranger. You have to consider each word in this sentence and to check if there is a cluster in that word. Clear now? Oh, good. Yeah, it says the second sentence has 5. Oh, really? Clear now, Hammer. Good. So should we review the answers now or wait a little bit? Okay, so we'll give it a minute. That's 60 seconds. Oh, I'm chilling. Thank you, Mohammed. I'm chilling, right? Oh, should we review the answer? Okay, let's go for the answer. Oh, there's just one more sentence. There's one more sentence that we need to look at. The last sentence. Oh, I like the way you did yours, Afiz. 143523, okay? The last sentence, let's look at it together. They looked through the window to catch a glimpse of the best car in the neighborhood. They looked, I can see one in that, through the window to catch a glimpse, that's another one, of the best car in the neighborhood. Now let's look at the answer. The answer, ta-da, yes. For the first sentence, you have 3, refused, print, and document. For the second sentence, you have 3, moved, and talked. For the third sentence, you have 4, text, end, desk, and script. And the last sentence, you have 3, looked, glimpsed, and burst. Wow. How many of you got it all correct? Good. Oh, yes. Cross-check your answers. Good. Oh, how does number 3 have only 4? Should we look at it again? Blah, blah. Let's check the sentence again. Blah, blah is wondering how number 3 has just 4. Okay, let's look at it. Number 3. There are 3 texts. That's 1. At the end, that's 2. Of the desk, that's 3. In the script, that's 4. Did you see that? Good. Now let's move on. Oh, beautiful. We've come to the end of today's lesson. And you have an assignment. Summarily, I'm going to summarize all what we've looked at. In English language, as words as well as letters. And the topic is consonant clusters. That is, we're looking at clusters of consonants. And for the purpose of this lesson, we looked at two clusters. That is, the occurrence of two consonants at the different positions of words in English language. And I explained to you that we have three positions of words in English language. That is the initial, the medial, and the final. And we looked at various examples with focus on sounds and not the letters. We've taken a class class exercise, and you have an assignment. The assignment is using a table with 3 columns, group the following words according to the position of the consonants. Now you have a table with 3 columns. The first column is labeled initial, the next one medial, and the last one final. Now with all those words that are given now, you are to put them in each column based on the clusters in them. If the first word has 3 clusters at the beginning, then it should be, sorry, if it has 2 or any clusters at the beginning, it should be in the initial column. If it has in the medial, then you put the same word in the initial and also in the medial. So on and so that's how you're going to take the rest of the words. You have to draw a table with 3 columns and group the words according to the position of the consonants. That is initial, medial, and final. Now let's take your questions. So any questions so far? Oh, Majid, what's your question?
No, nothing more.
Oh, good. So are we all clear with this lesson? Anyone putting up his or her hand? Iwande?
Hello, Mr. Jai.
Yes,
Mr.
I
Please,
can hear
can
you.
you go back to the previous slide?
Which part?
The previous slide, the one that we should identify the consonant cluster at the final.
The exercise?
Yes.
Okay. I've just,
Thank you, ma'am.
okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And excuse me, ma'am, how are we going to submit our assignment?
Your email.
Oh, yes, I'll give you my email. It will be on.
And you send it to them now on the chat.
On the chat, yes. I'll type in my email now, so you can just send in your assignment. Okay?
I'm Mr. Jai, you're with our notes.
You don't need your notes for this year one day, I'm sure. Is this a topic that we've not even looked at all? Yes, and with your notes, and your notes are saved in school. You're not to write it in your notes. You're just to, type it and send it to my email. It's just for evaluation purpose. Okay?
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Abdusalami, you're putting up your hand. Do you have a question? KD, you have your hands up. Abdusalami, what's your question?
The assignment.
Yes, there.
Like some of them have more than
Some of them have what?
One consonant.
I didn't get that.
If they have more than one consonant.
Speak up.
Please speak up. Can it be a little bit louder?
More than one consonant cluster.
Okay.
If they have more than one
yes.
cluster, what should we do?
That's what I've just explained. Let's take the word blank, for example, BLANK. That word has 2 clusters at the beginning and at the end. So I want to see the word in the first column, that is the initial column, and the last column. Do you get? Am I clear now?
Yes, ma.
Good, thank you.
Yes, ma.
All right. So I type in my email now for you to send your assignment to.
Okay, privately, let's send. Let's send this one.
Okay.
Àwọn ti create kíní kan so kí lorúkọ kíní yẹn mo gbọ́dọ̀ yẹ nǹkan pé
Yeah. So that's my mail for you to send in your assignment. It's just for evaluation. Just when you find this video on YouTube, it will be uploaded. So you can always make reference to it. Thank you for the class. Enjoy the rest of your day.